on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
8:36 now in your nation's capital. Thanks for tuning in to O'Connor and Company. I'm Larry O'Connor. Angela Morabito with us all morning long. Thanks for being here, Angela.
Thanks for having me.
Those of you who remember Angela back when she had her hands dirtied by the stain of federal government work, she was working in Betsy DeVos's education department as her chief spokesperson. But now you've finally you've cleansed yourself of the stain of working for the federal government, right? I'm kidding.
It's an interesting one, but I was very, very proud to serve in the Trump administration.
And I know that many people listening right now work in the federal government, and you all do a great job, except for that one guy at the IRS. All right, joining us right now is a fine actor and even a finer man. Kirk Cameron joins us to talk about a brand new initiative he's got, because, Kirk, we can no longer refer to you as an actor. You're an author. You're a children's book advocate, and I love it. Mm-hmm. Thanks for being here.
Well, good morning, Larry and Angela. It's great to be on the program. And hey, you know that little comment about getting your hands dirty, working at the federal government. Boy, I long for more people to do what Angela has done get involved in places of leadership. And this isn't a slam on you, Larry. It's just to highlight the importance of not allowing vacuums of character and faith to exist in powerful places, because that vacuum will be filled by people with lesser ideas and policies that lead to tyranny and bondage. So if we want to continue complaining about things rather than creating the culture we want, we just keep staying out of politics.
Yep.
But if we want to fix it, I think we need to do what Angela did.
100% you're right. And my tongue was firmly in my cheek. In fact, we learned this horrible lesson when we saw what has happened to our school system through school boards. We conservatives have ignored school board elections. We thought that all that mattered was who sat in the Oval Office, and look what happened behind our backs. And that's part of the reason why you've done the Sky Trees book fair initiative to push back on, I remember Scholastic. I used to get those little, newsprint flyers, and I bring them home, and my mom would, order a couple of Clifford books and Encyclopedia Brown books. But boy, Scholastica is a huge part of the problem.
Yes. So, I've been traveling the country reading children's books of Christian values and virtue to families, and I've been going to libraries that have been hosting drag queen story hours. And there's been an amazing resistance to good values at these libraries. But when the parents hear that we're coming, they show up by the thousands. Well, we've decided to go after the head of the snake and find out who is filling libraries and schools with sexually explicit, gender confusing, and racially irritating and confusing material. And the head of the snake, the dealer of all this stuff, is Scholastic Books, the largest producer of children's books in America. They're a $1 billion company. They're owned by companies like BlackRock and Vanguard. And we are offering an alternative to these Scholastic book fairs and encouraging schools through parents and school boards to get rid of Scholastic Books, which is literally putting material out that can only be described as pornographic. It's nudity. It's graphic scenes of experiences of transgender teens having sex and changing their body parts to the other gender, and replacing them with helpful, wholesome, great valued books like you and I grew up with. Yeah. And it's called Sky Tree Book Fairs. And you can go to the website to find out more and how you can bring these kinds of book fairs to your school. Go to skytreebookfairs.org.
Well, Kirk, thank you so much, first of all, for your kind words about my background. I love what you're doing with these book fairs. It's great to have you in this fight for the future of American education. And one thing I hear from folks in education world is they don't love what's in those mainstream Scholastic books. They're pretty horrified about what's being exposed in school libraries, but they're also afraid to sort of stick their neck out and say, oh, this can't happen. So what would you say to a school board member or a superintendent who, like me, like a lot of listeners right now, love what you're doing, but maybe they're not as willing to be outspoken. What's your message there?
Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or dismayed, for the God of heaven will be with you wherever you go. And on a personal note, hey, don't leave me hanging. If you like what I'm doing, if you appreciate the values that you grew up with, or you want to get back to even better values for your children and grandchildren, step up. Now's the time. If not you, then who? And if not now, when? So I would say I don't like sticking my neck out either. I want to be at home with my wife and my kids and my grandkids. But what is more scary than sticking your neck out now is what your world will be like 10 years from now if you do nothing. That will be scarier, and that will be much harder to stick your neck out. So know that there are millions of people just like you and me who want to head our country in a better direction, a good direction.
Oh, Kirk? All right, Kirk's cell just dropped, but hopefully we will. He'll get into another zone there and he'll reconnect. Although my life is flashing before my eyes because I've just learned that Kirk Cameron is a grandpa.
I was shocked by that. I mean,
kids and grandkids. That's he's Kirk Cameron, for crying out loud. He can't be a grandpa.
And I did my homework, Larry.
That's
looked at what is
amazing.
in Brave Books and what's over at Skytree.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. These are wonderful messages that would be great to share with any kid, especially with Christmas coming up. And most of all, they're fun. That's what kids' books should be.
And they're age appropriate, and there's nothing objectionable. And parents in Fredericksburg and the surrounding areas, they'll be able to see this firsthand because this Saturday, December 2nd, Kirk Cameron's going to be there in person for his first public school book fair. SkyTreeBookFairs.org is where you can get all the details on that December 2nd event. And it should be pointed out that Mark Taylor, Kirk, thanks for coming back to us. You said, we need to have some brave people step forward and join you in this fight. Mark Taylor, the superintendent of Spotsylvania Public Schools, he's dipping into his own pocket. He's personally paying for this book fair event at no expense to taxpayers. So we're thrilled you're going to be in town this Saturday.
Well, I'm excited to be there, and it's guys like him and you guys that I want to hang with in this fight for the hearts and minds of our kids and the future. Look, we can decide to be whiners about the culture, or we can be winners of the culture. We can complain, or we can create the world that we want to create for our kids. And that's just about getting off the defense. Get up off the couch. Stop watching Fox News crying in your Chick-fil-A soup. And do something to affect the kind of change that you would like to see for your kids and your grandkids. Now's the time.
Kirk, I got to ask you, because, we're in D.C., and so everything is about elected politics and winning elections. You are well-known. You've got a background as a Hollywood actor. You're well-spoken. You're smart. You're telegenic. You've got a huge following. I know you've been approached to run for public office in the past. You must have been approached. Tell me whether you were ever actually enticed by that idea, why you decided not to. Do you agree with Andrew Breitbart's famous saying that culture is actually upstream of politics, that it's more important to write good books and make good movies than it is to sit in a Congress and pass a law?
Yeah, and I can hear that we're breaking up here. My apologies are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So, yes, I agree. Politics is downstream of culture. I think so. And, I think it's even a little, it just seems so complicated, right? I mean, you follow the money flow back to all the big controllers of money and all that. But what I do know is that I do believe that the most powerful position anyone could have, I think, is the position of a mom or a dad or a grandparent, somebody who is got influence in the lives of children. Everybody wants to go after the children. It's why the drag queens aren't happy being in the drag bars. They want to be in the public schools and the libraries. Hitler said, I don't care about adults who disagree with my policies because in 40 years you won't be here. I have what I want, which is your children in my schools. And in 20 years, this will have been the only community that they've ever known. So if you are a parent, if you have influence in the lives of children, you have been put in a place of great power and authority and influence. And that's why I take great gratitude and and thankfulness to be able to do what I'm doing. And I think every parent should never say, what can I do? You know, I'm not a politician.
Yeah.
Listen, if God's called you to be a politician, do it. If you got a radio show, do it. But as parents, this is where we get the job done at the table in the hearts and minds of the children and the next generation of human beings.
Well said, Kirk Cameron. I've been saying it for years. What happens in your house is more important than what happens in the White House, and you're putting that into action.
That's right.
SkytreeBookFairs.org is the information. It's this Saturday, December 2nd in Fredericksburg. Thanks for joining us, and we're still blown away that you're a grandpa. It's going to take me a week to come to terms with that, but congratulations.
Well, you know, I am a grandpa, and my grandson or granddaughter, I don't know which yet, is still cooking. He or she is still in the oven. He's only like 5 weeks old. So I'm a grandpa, and I'm trying my beard on for size, and I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to be called Pop or Grandpa Bumpa, or I don't know. What do you think?
I like Grandpapa. Actually, that's got sort of an old world feel to it, kind of medieval.
Grandpapa.
Yeah.
I like that.
It feels very, Wuthering Heights. It feels very Jane Austen. Try it out. All right, man. Great talking with you. Have fun in Spotsylvania County this Saturday. You're going to love it there.
Thank you so much. God bless you and Merry Christmas.
Same back at you. 8:48. Let's get straight to Jane.